Radio. This is where you go if you want to see something or if you want to hear something funny. Coming up in just a couple minutes. This is a joke I told. What? I'm not on Dove Radio? Call the police. Call my agent.
Tony, welcome to go.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
I gotta pat you down though, pal.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Got anything on you? Anything I should know?
I got nothing.
Anything weird going on?
What?
Alright, you go in, Tony.
Good. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Tom Kelly of The Tom Kelly Show. Yes, this is not the only time I've gotten on my knees in the back room of a comedy club.
The Knockem Dead Comedy Radio Show is also brought to you by Two Eagles Auto Body. For more than 25 years, Two Eagles Auto Body has been the leader in auto body repairs and customer satisfaction on Long Island. Two Eagles Auto Body handles every type of auto repair from custom applications and restorations to repairs involving insurance claims. Give Two Eagles Auto Body a call and please ask for John Rossi at 516-328-2527. That's 516-328-2527.
Hey, how do you say there, people? It's Johnny Brennan, creator of the Jerky Boys, also of Fox TV's Family Guy fame. I just want to let you know you're listening to Tony on the Knockem Dead Radio Show. They're gonna keep knocking them dead, so keep listening, you wacky sons of bitch. Right there. Over and out there, sweet Charlie.
Long time no see, man. Hey, man, I miss you guys, man, at Knockem Dead Comedy Radio.
Hey, Tony, you're not funny, and you probably shit yourself a lot, and you're no fun to be with, and you don't make that much money, and you're not going anywhere in show business, and I hope you get hit by a bus.
Remember, because what you hears today, you got to tell the birthed tomorrow. I'm looking behind us now, across the count of time, down the long hall, into history back. I sees the end, what with a start. Right. And somebody did come.
Love that intro. Hi, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend. Welcome to the Knockem Dead Comedy Show here on Gov's Comedy Club Podcast. The Knockem Dead Comedy Show. We're coming at you live from the legendary Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, New York. Gov's Comedy Club Podcast, YouTube, and Facebook. Please subscribe to both and follow both and like both and hit the thumbs up on both and do both on both of those things that you do both on. We appreciate all the support. Please tell everybody you know about all the great shows here at Gov's Comedy Club Podcast, including this one, and Coffee with the Dog, which was just on before us, and Hershey and the Keegs, and Steve Squared, and Donversations, of course, and all the great shows here. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hello, John Rusiello. Good morning. Hope you had a good weekend. Same to you, pal. Jerry Lahane, like, share, subscribe to the madness. The madness that is the Knockem Dead Comedy Show. All right. So we have a band scheduled as our guest this morning. I don't think, though, that they're playing. They're not here yet. They're scheduled to be here around 11:15. They're called Seconds Out. They are a Genesis tribute band. Here's my Genesis shirt. Genesis, I'll give you a quick, brief rundown history of Genesis. Genesis was a band, I think their first album, they came out in the late 60s, early 70s. The legendary singer Peter Gabriel was the lead singer in that band. That was, his rise to fame was through this band. Lots of people don't know that. Peter Gabriel left the band in 1975. Really didn't become a major star until after he left the band. But now in this band, joining the band, I think in 1970 or 71, they got a new drummer in this band. His name was Phil Collins. Well, it still is Phil Collins. That's still his name. He's not in the band, but still his name. Phil Collins joined the band as the drummer. When Peter Gabriel left the band in 1975, Phil Collins stepped out from behind the drum kit and became their lead singer. And like I said, Peter Gabriel rose to fame after he left Genesis, and even Genesis themselves, the band, they hit superstar status with Phil Collins as their lead singer. A lot of people don't even know that Peter Gabriel was the first singer. A lot of people aren't even really that familiar with Genesis anymore. They haven't. I don't know. I feel you don't really hear much about them. You know their songs, which is why there's a tribute band. So many great songs. I Can't Dance, No Son of Mine, Invisible Touch, Land of Confusion, Throwing It All Away, That's All, Illegal Alien, Home by the Sea, Mama, Abacab. Remember that one? No Reply at All. Misunderstanding, Turn It On Again, Follow You, Follow Me, so many great songs. And those are just the greatest some greatest hits that I just mentioned. I think these guys are known more for like their album tracks, the deep cuts. And then again, that's just songs that came out Genesis as a band. And then you throw in the solo act, Phil Collins with, so many hits, Peter Gabriel with so many hits. And then some of their other band members, too, had some hits. Steve Hackett, who was one of their guitar players, he had some hits in the 80s with various bands. Mike Rutherford, now there's only two guys that have stayed with Genesis from, original members that stayed all the way through. Tony Banks, the keyboard player, and Mike Rutherford, one of the guitar players. Mike Rutherford, though, in the 80s and 90s, had a lot of success with Mike and the Mechanics. All You Need Is a Miracle and The Living Years and some great tunes. So there's a lot of great music involved with this band. So Seconds Out is the name of a live album that the band put out. I'm assuming what this band is named after. But yeah, they're called Seconds Out. I do believe they're Long Island based. Seconds Out, a tribute to Genesis. They're due here, give or take 5 minutes. Jeff Bosey's watching. Hello. He says, "Hey, Pumpkin." Hi, Pumpkin. Jeff Bosey, kicking ass again. This past Saturday, Knockem Dead Comedy, we did a murder mystery in Plainview. We had a brand new cast member join us for the first time, a fellow by the name of James. He did super. He fits right in with us and our lunacy. And my bride Lisa. She joined us. She did a role that she hasn't done with us in probably 15 years. So that was close to 15 years. So that was a lot of fun. We had a great cast. We had a great time. The audience, they needed a little warming up, but we quickly got them. Didn't take long. And Jeff got a huge reaction when he walked in. As you guys know, Jeff wears a dress in the show. He plays my daughter. We just had a great time. So thanks to the cast. We've got another private party again in a couple of weeks. Jeff says he was amazing. Yes, he was. Well, I had a great physical touch with cast and audience and fun this past weekend. I had a great physical touch. Oh, are you trying to make a Genesis tie-in? It's Invisible Touch. You don't remember that song? That's something I want to ask these guys, too. I do feel some of their songs have not really kind of lasted. Like, I don't know. I just feel these guys, Genesis, has kind of been forgotten about. But, yeah, so we had a great weekend with Knockem Dead. Had a great time. Thanks to the cast. Thanks to the audience. We were with the Plainview Knights of Columbus, which was kind of funny because the building that they had this event in is it's in the same building that my daughter's day hab is in. Why that matters, I have no idea. But that's my story. So, yeah, great show. Also, and I'll do this quickly. I'll probably talk about. I'll talk more about this as the week goes on, because we got a week full of guests here. But yeah, we also this weekend, Lisa, Zach, and I, we watched Unfrosted, this new Jerry Seinfeld movie. Now, if you watch the trailer, if you're a Seinfeld fan, if you're a fan of comedy. And again, if you watch the trailer, this movie would excite you. You'd be like, oh, my God, this movie looks amazing. I can't wait to see this. All right, these guys are saying they're here. All right, well, I told them to come around the back. I guarantee they didn't. Let's see. We are out front. Which way do we go in? I guarantee I told these guys to come in the back. All right, I'm hanging that up. Go around, go between the deli and the club, and come in the back door. Once inside, look for the sliding glass doors on your left. Okay. So, yeah, if you're a fan of comedy, if you're a fan of Seinfeld, because the trailer looks fantastic. There's, Invisible, Physical, same thing. Oh, Jeff changed his profile name again. So, yeah, if you're a fan of comedy, fan of Seinfeld, you watch a trailer, you're like, wow, this looks hilarious. In fact, I was sitting with Don Sill. He didn't even know about the movie one day when I got to talking about it, and he was like, what are you talking about? What Seinfeld movie? I was like, Google Unfrosted. Just watch the trailer. He watched it. He was like, oh, my God, this looks amazing. This movie sucked. This movie was stupid. Sorry, Jerry Seinfeld. I'm a big fan, but, man, this movie blew chunks, man. I just I thought it was terrible. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sirs. Come on in. Yeah, come on in. Oh, yeah, got my shirt.
This is Al Messina.
Al, and you're Frank.
Frank, yes, I am.
All right. It's just two of you today?
Yeah.
Okay. Come on in. Come sit. As you guys are settling down, I'm sitting here complaining. You guys happen to see this new Seinfeld movie by any chance? Anybody happen to catch this thing?
I know of it.
Yeah, you've seen the trailer? Yeah, the Pop-Tart thing? Yeah. Oh, my God, this movie was awful.
That's for you.
Oh, I got a gift. Look, we're off to a good start here, man. Very nice. Should I open it now?
If you like. I mean, it's not what you think it is, but it is.
It's not what I think it is?
Well, I mean,
so it's not hookers. Because that's what I'm always thinking about.
I drank it on the way over. So. Sorry,
it looks...
I was thirsty.
Oh, nice. I got myself a Seconds Out shirt. Excellent. Look at that. Thank you, guys. That's very nice of you.
Welcome.
Cool. Tribute to the music of Genesis. Very nice. Thank you. All right. So we have Frank is right here, and we have Al, right?
That's right.
Al Messina. Very nice. Let me just fix some of these camera angles here. All right. Very excited to have you guys here today. We're going to talk about the band. We're going to talk about Genesis. And, of course, we're going to throw out there that you guys have a gig this Thursday, is it?
It's Thursday.
That's right. Yeah.
At the warehouse. Yep. So if you guys, if you're not doing any comedy this weekend, if you guys aren't looking to go see a comedy show at Governor's, well, come check out some great music. Seconds Out is playing at the warehouse in Amityville this coming Thursday. Which I guarantee will be a great show. Okay, there we go. We're all set. Very nice. All right. Well, I'm glad you guys are here today. Thanks for coming in. So no, nobody has real jobs. You guys had time to come in, huh?
Well,
or are we old and retired? Is that what we're doing?
No, we have day jobs. This is just a passion of ours.
Nice.
Yep.
Truly is. I brought my day job with me after we're done here.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. Sorry. Okay, so Seconds Out. All right, so give me some history here. So, how did the band come together? You guys are huge fans, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I've been a fan for over 40 years.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they've been around almost 50 at this point. Well, since they came out.
Actually, 60.
60. You're right. 60 is 68.
Well, they started actually in 66 when Peter and Mike and Tony were both in the same school.
Right.
Charterhouse School.
Okay.
And then Anthony Phillips was with them at the time. And,
right.
and they went through a couple of drummers before
right.
then. But, yeah, so technically 66, so almost 60 years.
But I think the first album came out in 66. Am I correct with that?
60, I believe that was
69.
69? Okay.
Yeah, which
okay.
was from Genesis to Revelation.
Right, right.
Which was sort of like a Moody Blues kind of, I don't want to call it a knockoff, but it was kind of a Moody Blues sort of sounding thing.
Yeah, definitely not what they came to be known for, the type of music that they ended up doing.
No, there was some hints lyrically.
Yeah.
But there wasn't the real sort of progginess.
Right.
Yet.
Yeah, they're like 18, 19-year-old guys at the time, too.
Right.
So they were really developing.
Mm-hmm. So now, big fan. So this, because all right, tribute to the band, to the music of Genesis. You get a lot of tribute bands like Long Island is tribute.
We
the
are
Mecca.
To tribute bands.
Yeah.
Very rich, diverse industry.
Big time.
Industry.
Now, but you guys, some tribute bands, and I'm not saying this to be negative, but some tribute bands, it's a moneymaker. It's a
Sure.
But you guys, I don't get that impression. Like you're a big fan, Frank. So I'm assuming you just want to get out there and play it.
We are making tens of dollars.
Exactly.
We're killing it.
But that's fine. You just want to play, right?
Well, I just want to play. Our keyboardist Joe, who couldn't be here today, is an older fan than I am. Like he's been involved even before me.
Yeah.
And he's just we're rabid fans, and Al and our guitarist Richie are sort of new to it, but they have found religion. And
well, when you say new to it, new to the band or new to actually being fans of the music?
New to Genesis.
Oh, wow.
Like I was casually a Genesis fan in the 80s growing up here on the island.
Yeah.
But about 3 or 4 years ago, Frank and I were talking, and he keeps saying, I want to start a Genesis band, so I want to start a Genesis band. We're all in different projects. Every guy in the band's in different projects, currently still.
Right.
And so I started with the album Foxtrot. Which is one of the classic albums, and I was into Pink Floyd growing up, so I found a lot of similarities in structure and length of the songs,
especially in the 70s.
Yes. And while Pink Floyd is more of a blues based, can be categorized in prog, but this was seriously deep into the orchestrations and layering, and I just thought it was fantastic, and so I kind of just took it right from there. And so I started from the early albums and went forward. And when we, one of my projects broke up, and I'm currently in another one. So we kind of formed that just before that happened, and we said, all right, let's just see how it goes. And we found 3 other like-minded guys that were just really into it, and it kind of just took off. We've only had 5 shows so far.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and they've all been pretty successful. It's
just
starting out. Yeah, really humbled and grateful for that.
I'm actually happy to hear that because I was saying before you guys came in, as I was starting the show and doing, the introductions and whatnot, I personally feel like Genesis is kind of like you don't really hear. I mean, they're not active, but you don't really hear much about them anymore. Like people talk, they'll say Zeppelin, The Who, Clapton, the Beatles, of course, and the Stones, but like you don't really hear Genesis's name, at least in my opinion. So I'm glad to hear that there's still an audience out there, or is there an audience?
There is.
Yeah. Okay.
And they are, for the most part, they are very, very focused on
diehards.
The diehards.
Yeah.
They'll come up. I don't know about you, Al, but I had someone come. Oh, the way you played that sounded like. Concert they did in 1978. And,
oh, wow.
Out in Shepperton or whatever. It's like, oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, you're like, I meant to do that.
That's like, go home on YouTube.
Yeah, right.
But, we have a couple of real, like, Uber fans, too, that have come to every show. And Kenny Forgione, who you know.
I do. Know Kenny well.
He's a big Genesis fan, which I didn't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And that's nice because he probably knows them all too. So you need somebody that I'm sure he'll jump up in a heartbeat. He's
well, we're trying.
Yeah, right. Let's see. So I'm just reading comments as we're going.
Sure.
Jerry's asking where his gift is. Jerry, you live in Washington. Good.
Oh, that's in the mail.
Yeah, right. Hold your breath.
It's not in the mail.
Then we have Donna's asking which one is Peter and which one is Phil. Well, we have the same haircut, so you must be Phil and you must be Peter.
Right.
So I'm sure the band, the fans are happy because the band's not active. So this is their way of getting to see anything Genesis related live.
You
right?
get to hear some live stuff. We play stuff from 1970 to 1991, so we kind of run the spectrum of when they were just starting out to when they peaked and then when they started to not peak so much.
Yeah, right.
But that's kind of where we stopped. We stopped at the We Can't Dance album.
Right, the last album with Phil.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, nothing against Ray Wilson, of course, but it's just not the same.
No,
no. It's all about Peter and Phil and our lead singer Mike, who, if you're listening, hi Mike.
Yeah, well, got that camera right there.
Is able to. He has a gift to sort of encapsulate both the Peter and the Phil sort of sound vocally. So it kind of worked out really well. And he took up flute maybe a year ago just so he could play the flute parts.
Right.
So he's a very devoted
Absolutely.
person as well.
Yeah, he's a younger fellow too. He's in his late 30s, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah.
The way that worked out, I was in a band with him, and he mentioned that he got deep into Genesis in college, and I was talking with Frank about the same thing. I said, "Oh, let me get these two guys together. Maybe something will work out." And that's kind of how the whole thing took off from there. Yeah.
And it's not. I mean, it's almost to a certain degree. It's almost like two different bands. I mean, you listen to the Gabriel stuff, then you go into the 80s. Most people probably wouldn't even realize that's the same band. So it's for your lead singer, Mike. It's got to be. Well, it's hard for all of you guys. This is not easy music to play.
No, it's not.
It's funny because I have played Genesis on my own. I put on the headset, I play the drums,
right,
and I'll play along to it. And casually.
Yeah.
And then when we finally got the band together, then I had to go and learn it. And I'm like, what is this nonsense? Oh, okay. And then you said, and I had to actually learn how to count again.
Right.
Because there's so much, all these time changes.
Sure.
And the pacing slows down, it picks up, it does that. It's really.
It's very complex stuff, man.
I would not have it any other way, though.
Oh, sure.
I fell in love with the music all over again.
Yeah.
Learning it.
But hats off to you guys because I watch videos and you guys nail it. Everybody everybody in the band. Again, none of it is easy. Guitar, the keyboards, the singing, the drums, all of it. And Phil Collins. I think to a casual music or just to the general public, known for a lot of the hits and the ballads, and I think it's mostly, and most people know that he plays drums, but. I think it's really just people that are into music or musicians that really know just what an amazing drummer that guy was in his day.
Well,
unbelievable.
During the mid-'70s, if you remember, he was in two bands. He was in Genesis
Brand X.
and he was in Brand X.
Yeah.
And you can hear the evidence of his playing in Trick of the Tail. I mean, he was just a monster on that because of just all that, fusion, jazz, and everything he incorporated into the album. Just his playing is still to this day for me when I listen, it's breathtaking.
A kid growing up in the 80s, my introduction to Phil as a drummer was either on, Do They Know It's Christmas, or on the Live Aid when he filled in for Zeppelin.
Yeah, which nobody wants to talk about.
Wow, this guy can play drums? I had no idea.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a...
And I'm with you. I'm a kid of the 80s, and pretty much the same way found out he played drums, and then watched the Mama Tour live video. I can watch the drum solo him and Chester does. I can watch that daily. Really, I mean, it's classic, unbelievable. That and the version of In the Cage in that concert and the whole medley with that. Oh my goodness!
Yeah, we're actually pulling that type of medley out on Thursday.
Oh yeah,
starting with In the Cage, and then we're going from there. It's like a 3-song medley.
Yeah. Wow. That's cool.
And it is, it's still, I mean, we've rehearsed it a few times, and every time we rehearse it, I still get tingles because, you get that build up coming up at the end In the Cage, and which way are they going to go? Are they going to play?
Yeah.
And then we're not going to give it away, but you have to come to the warehouse this Thursday, 7:30 p.m.
Very nice. That's over there in Amityville, which is, maybe 20 minute stops east of here. Should be a great show. So we have this one fellow who watches the show regularly. His name is Andrew. People thought I would never get over my obsession with Phil Collins, but if they only could take a look at me now. His comments are like that every day. And
is there a snare drum here? I'll give him a punch. I'm sorry, I didn't come prepared. I didn't know.
There's no preparing for his comments. They're awful.
Some of the comments that we get from people just attending our shows. Last time there was a fellow that stopped me in between sets and he said, "Look, you don't know what this music meant to me. I'm sitting here and I'm like reliving elements from my life, and I'm remembering what I was going through when this song came out or when this album came out. And thank you guys for bringing it back.
Right?
Because we realize that we're the only Genesis tribute that's active that plays regularly on the island. You have other acts coming in. You have Musical Box coming in next month, and you have Rail coming in, but they don't come in all that often.
Right.
So we space out our gigs, one every month, every 2 months, because when we try to learn another song, it's not like adding a 3-minute hit. Every song is 8-9 minutes. It has multi-players. I'm playing sometimes 4 instruments during one particular song.
And some foot pedals.
Yeah. Switching from bass to guitar because I don't have a double neck. And it's just nuts. And but it's exciting and complicated and really thrilling, to actually be able to pull that off.
Right.
It's
so if you wanted to, I mean, you could probably do a whole 2-hour concert with like 5 songs. So many songs are so long.
Well, if we had the one song,
Someone's ready. Yeah, right. That's what, 20-something minutes, right?
It's 24 minutes.
24 minutes. Yeah. Oh my! Have you done that one?
I was just charting it out yesterday to figure out how do I do this. So, but that's on our radar. Absolutely.
Wow.
So if anyone's interested, yes, Supper's Ready is on the radar.
And I'm glad you mentioned the other bands because looking at your website, I see that, there's a little delay on YouTube, but you'll see it in a second. I came across a photo of you guys. You guys went to go see the Musical Box.
Yeah,
we did.
Which, for those of you who don't know, that's another Genesis tribute band. Where are they based out of?
Wearing the shirt.
Oh, look at that. So, were you guys checking out the competition? What were you guys?
Oh no, they're not competition.
No. Okay.
We're AAA. They're the show.
Oh, okay.
They're the premier tribute basically in the world. They reenact all the Peter Gabriel stuff, even the choreography and his gestures,
the costumes,
not just the costumes, but how he. When we saw The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, it's a full album.
Yeah.
But how if you watched, there's very few videos available.
Right.
But if you watch that, they duplicated every single gesture and look and move that he did. It's tremendous. They used the original, like 1,200 slides from the show. They reproduced the lighting, on original vintage instruments. It's tremendous.
Oh my goodness!
Job those guys do.
From what I understand, they're the only Genesis tribute band that's endorsed by Genesis. Like the
is that right?
pieces you see
Yeah.
are on loan from.
Yes, I think I heard that. They're the ones that Phil did sit in with maybe
Yes.
10, 15 years ago? Yeah,
Sure,
okay. Yeah. Wow. So
Steve is sat in with them too.
Oh, is that right? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. But it's funny again talking about the other acts because I've seen Rail. They're I think Jersey based, right? I think.
Yeah, they're Northern Jersey, I think. They're great.
Oh, yeah. But I always I crack up every time I think about them because I saw a bunch of us. I have a friend, David Clark. He All About Joel, Billy Joel tribute.
Okay.
He's tremendous, but he was. I don't think he's doing it anymore, but he was trying to get like a Sting thing going.
Oh wow!
So it was a show with Rail was the opener, and then his Sting thing was the headliner. So this to me was the best of both worlds. I'm a big Sting fan, Genesis. So I'm like, oh, this will be a great show. Bunch of us went, but they went. My other friends went to support David, and they knew Sting. They knew nothing about Genesis. They could probably recall the greatest hits, right? Now out comes Rail, and he's dressed up like. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Peter Gabriel, when he was the lead singer of Genesis, I mentioned before you came in that Peter Gabriel really didn't become a star until after he left the band, pretty much.
Well, it started off slow for him, if you remember.
Well, yes.
Yeah, because he was in a lot of money trouble up to a certain point.
Right.
Yeah. 6 of the Best.
Right, 82, right. Yeah. But then the solo album with Sledgehammer and In Your Eyes, I mean, that just catapulted him. But, yeah, so not many people even know he was the singer of a band, before any of that. But not only that, but he used to dress up in these crazy, and I mean crazy outfits. You can go on YouTube and look at it. There's all sorts of compilations of all the different outfits that he wore. So this band comes out, and this guy is imitating that, and he's got all the makeup and the hair and the different outfits, and I'm just watching my friends. Like, nobody knew what to make of this, and I was doing just that. I was laughing my ass off. I had and of course, digging the music. They're a great band.
Yeah.
So I loved every second of it, but I always think of that whenever I talk about that band. The look, which is probably the look on the audience's faces back then as well.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't know what to make of it. It was, I loved it. I thought it was so funny.
Well, Musical Box, getting back to them for a sec, they're going to be playing in Patchogue June 12th.
Oh, is that right?
And, we're all going.
Yeah.
And my wife had got me for Christmas, found a marketing booklet of Musical Box from 1991. Found it at a thrift store somewhere.
Wow.
And she goes, do you want this? Merry Christmas. What do you think of this? I'm like, and I'm there like fangirling, going, So I went online to their Facebook page. I messaged them and asked if I brought this by, would they sign it? And they said,
nice.
Bye.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, cool.
So these, I didn't know they were officially endorsed by Genesis. So these guys go all over the world, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the Canadian base.
Oh, okay.
They're all over, and they're amazing.
Yeah. Wow, that's cool. Very nice. Now, you mentioned before, some people will say, oh, you did a drum fill from Nebworth, 1978. Like, do you guys do you follow that closely and try to recreate stuff like that, or you just...
From my perspective, on the bass, I start out with the album track, and if there's a live version, like on Genesis Live from '73 or Seconds Out, that I like better, I might do that, but I try to stick with the Mike Rutherford bass lines instead of Daryl Strummer playing bass. But with the medleys, we do have to follow. There's one from '86 that we drew from. When you mentioned the Cage, that's one of those that we started to work with. Because they had a great transition from that into the next song, and we wanted to duplicate that.
Sure.
Because it was just so cool how they did that. So I'm sorry, that was the answer to your question. Are you the musical director or something? Like, it seems like all these, a lot of the questions for the set list and whatnot is going back to you. We don't really have that. It's all collaborative.
Okay.
I do try to push and say, all right, what's next? How are we going to do? Let's look forward to November, guys. What are we doing for that show? Because, like we mentioned earlier, it takes so long to get some of these songs together. You just can't pick one up in 2 weeks.
Right.
It might take a month to do. Because of all the different orchestration and layering.
I was actually underplaying his role.
Is that right? Yeah.
He is meticulous with research.
Oh, okay.
And so if anyone, I turn to him and go, Al, look, as long as I'm playing Genesis,
Right.
Whatever, but he will dive into what songs he think might work. When we get the set list, we know exactly how much time is between each song.
Yeah.
Not that we necessarily follow that, but the man is tenacious. So thankfully we have him.
Sure.
You know, not only is his bass playing sublime, but just kind of keeping things together. And I personally handle most of the marketing and the graphics and all that stuff. And,
so you made the graphic to promote this? That was awesome, by the way.
Oh, no, well,
I was very
just stole
impressed.
your logo.
Yeah, but then you made it look better than it actually does. Mixing your own logo. Oh yeah,
my rates are reasonable.
Is that
not reasonable?
Is that your full-time gig, or you?
Yeah, graphic designer.
Oh, very nice.
Or creative director, photographer.
Cool.
But Al here is our lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh. Okay.
If I ever get in trouble,
if the band ever sues you,
sues. Wait, hold on. I thought that was just never mind.
Right. So yeah, learning these complex songs. So you got what's your rehearsals like? Is it once a week? Is it?
Yeah, we try to do weekly, 3-hour rehearsals every week.
And then
it's needed.
Oh yeah, definitely needed. And then like for the set list, are you trying to come up with get a tune you haven't played yet for each gig, or surprise them?
That's our goal. Is no two shows are the same, and every show has at least a new song or two.
Nice.
And that's the challenge. We also try to do a balance between people divide into Phil Collins era, or I like to think of it more Steve Hackett era. And then not Steve Hackett era. That's just from my perspective, because he was just so, I think, integral. Frank said he was like the heart and soul of the band.
I still feel that way.
Really?
He was the heart and soul of the band.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never heard anybody say that. Wow.
No slight to the three-member
era.
Right.
No,
but,
never.
There's a little difference between Wind and Wuthering, and then in '76, and then
there were three.
And then there were three.
Yeah.
You can hear a slight change. Like they were trying to latch on to what they had, but then they were taking it into a different era.
Which I think it fortunately brought us Duke. So
yes.
They kind of reassessed where they were going musically, and I think Duke was probably, if not one of the best sort of transitional albums.
Right.
I personally feel it's the best, but
that would be your favorite.
Any band, it's transitionally when you're going from one style to more of a rock-based style, and they just got it right.
It is a great album.
Yeah.
Now, all right, so for those of you who don't know, when Phil Collins left the band, Genesis put out one more album. They got a different lead singer who had no history with the band, and at least in America, it totally flopped. And you guys don't even cover that. No. But if Ray Wilson called you right now and said, I'm coming to America and I want to play the whole Calling All Stations album, would you do it?
Yes.
It's a lot to learn there, Frank.
Well,
but yeah.
To be honest, one of my other favorite drummers is Nick DiVirgilio.
Oh, okay.
He's
on that.
Calling on Stations.
Right.
So if I were to have an opportunity to play his parts, not as well, I would totally do it.
What do you? Because again, it really didn't work. That album. There's some good moments on that album, but for the most part, at least I don't.
There was
really worked,
people talk about Congo.
I do. I like that one.
That was an okay song.
Yeah.
I do listen to that from time to time.
Yeah.
But I just felt the rest of the album didn't really have that.
So do you think that they should have broke up when Phil left, or do you have your own thoughts on how they should have carried on?
I would have loved them to have an actual reunion before Phil got sick. But I know Peter was really against that because he had his own thing now, and he didn't want to be identified with Genesis, which is any Genesis fan would be like, but wait a minute, that's where you came from. Why would you not?
Right.
People evolve,
and they evolve. Yeah. Well, sure, that's why.
And it wasn't until maybe 10 years ago, give or take, that he actually did a Genesis. Well, I take that back. He did do Lamb Lies Down when he first went solo. He would play that song.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, definitely in the 80s and 90s, he wouldn't go anywhere near it.
They re-recorded Carpet Crawlers in
1999. But prior to that, so 80s and 90s, he really wouldn't touch it. But even live, though, he stayed away from that
That's right.
completely until maybe about 10 years ago. He did 1 or 2 songs in his set list.
It's not that he needs to. I mean, his
True.
his
Tremendous.
Personal catalog is
Absolutely
vast. Yeah.
and just so good.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
he
But
doesn't
it was
have
really
to.
cool to hear Tony Levin play The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Yeah, talk about a bass player.
Oh my God, he's a monster.
Do you guys cover solo stuff too, or no?
We have. We did that. It was kind of like encores for our first show. It's
Okay.
kind of like anyone that we didn't know who's going to be there. It turned out
sure.
it was a pretty good turnout. So those people that hung out, we did Salisbury Hill and Take
Oh,
Me
okay.
Home.
Oh,
just
nice.
For that. But that was the only time that we did that. We might bring those back.
Sure, why not? Yeah.
Yeah, they're great songs. But,
Right.
being a Genesis tribute band, you try to, play in your own sandbox.
Okay.
Instead of going solo. But, there might be time and place for that.
And
Yeah, I would think so.
Speaking of the first show, which was at Industry in Huntington,
Mm-hmm.
at the time, Alicia was kind of booking the bands. Everyone knows her as Skipper. And Manu, who's the owner, was a big Genesis fan, which I didn't know about at the time. In a casual conversation, I said to her, "Hey, I'm getting a Genesis band together, a Genesis tribute band together." I was wondering, she goes, "When do you want to play?"
Oh, wow.
I couldn't even finish a sentence.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
So we, thanks to Industry for getting us started.
Sure. That's fantastic. Yeah, I'm happy to hear that because as a big Genesis guy, I don't know a lot of. I think we even talked about that on the phone. We don't know a lot of Genesis fans. Like you don't really hear that name anymore. So I'm happy to hear that the place was excited about it, and then you had a good turnout. That's a really good thing.
We were overwhelmed
Yeah.
by the turnout. He's listening to me on the phone like, I don't know if anyone's coming. I don't know. The numbers aren't there. And he's like, just.
Right.
We're there to play and and just have fun. That's great. That's the other thing is that when we're playing every other month, there's not a lot of pressure to keep playing, to keep in the public eye, because we're not playing like every other. I can't say every other, but like most either cover or tribute bands on the island. If you're not out there for every few weeks, they turn to the next best thing.
Yeah.
But when you're playing this one little subset, that no one else really touches.
Yeah.
There's some bands that touch on it.
Right.
Wonder Stories does, Prognosis does, and they do a great job. But when you devote yourself to this one little section of progressive rock,
Right.
people that are into that, they'll come out and find you.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Which is really cool. I had no idea that was a thing until it actually happened.
And they
Right.
are devout.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's mostly guys, all right, or no? No?
I was shocked to find no. That's not
Really?
true. Yeah, there's a healthy contingent of women that are there reciting every lyric back to us, while we're there, wearing Genesis Revelation shirts and Trick of the Tail shirts and stuff like that.
Wow.
And, that was the joke. It's like, what, is it going to be you and the bartender and a bunch of, 60-year-old guys? Like, yeah, maybe, but we're still playing it.
Sure.
And then, but so thankful that there are those fans and they came out and it was great.
Wow.
And they're singing along to every song.
That's really cool.
Which
so it's a complete misconception.
Yeah.
That,
I'm happy to be wrong. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I kind of thought the same thing because I remember saying, "Al, just be careful. You're going to be surrounded by a lot of guys." So and I'm looking out from the kid, going, "Wait a minute, that's not a guy. I know these things. That's not either." And before and we have like a good core of fans. There's Victoria, who's she's come, and Diane, I believe
show,
Diane. Sorry if I got the name wrong, but we gave them shirts, and they've come to almost every show. And
then we also have guys like Steve and Jay that come out, and Kenny comes out to the shows.
Yeah.
And,
Kenny.
He promotes us at his shows sometimes. He's like,
That's
hey,
nice.
These are the guys from Seconds Out. Check them out. And if he's coming out and he thinks that we're good, must be doing something right.
Right. Yeah. Because he's got a following.
Got a lot of respect.
And Wonder Story is one of the biggest bands on the island.
Tremendous.
Yeah. I mean,
amazing band, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And, the stuff they've done. And, I don't know if you ever see, every year he had the thing where he recreates the Bangladesh thing. Yeah. The people that he's gotten to play with him on that, which I think he's not doing anymore, right? But
they just did it.
Yeah, but I think that was the last one, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken,
maybe.
which makes me sad. But yeah, he's had members of Wings, he's had members of the Rascals, and just all these different Yeah, what a tremendous band those guys are, man.
Well, you get a talent like that, they can bring in the bigger talent, which I always find to be wonderful because you get this sort of new sort of respect for the older bands that maybe you haven't heard in a while.
Sure.
Oh, I remember these guys.
Right.
You know,
absolutely. And it's good stuff. You know,
Yeah.
You know, as we get older, you hate. You know, it's weird. It's weird seeing how this stuff isn't really in the forefront anymore. You know, it's like a kid of the '80s. I'm still listening to that stuff. You know, and it's just weird to see as we get older. Just everything's changing, but.
Yeah, well, we're gonna hang out for as long as we can.
Well, right, yes, which is a great thing. That's all right. I'm ignoring some of you, Andrew. I'm ignoring some of your comments. He's just crazy. All right, Will Wagner, late to the show, but everyone knows that unfrosted Pop-Tarts are the worst ones. Oh, okay, so he's watching from the beginning, where I was complaining this new Jerry Seinfeld movie. Oh yeah, it's so awful. The trailer looked fantastic. It looked like there were tons of cameos. I can't tell you how bad this thing was. It was awful. I was so disappointed with this thing, but I won't.
Thanks for the warning.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. It's that bad. You did see it?
I with respect, yeah, it wasn't the greatest thing, but I actually enjoyed it.
Oh yeah,
I did. Well, because I think for me the nostalgia.
Okay, yes, I enjoyed that.
Like, oh my God, I remember eating that stuff.
Yes,
and I'm still alive.
And some of the references were good, and I thought Bill Burr as JFK, that scene I thought was hilarious.
My God, I wish what I loved about that is that he did it.
Yes.
What I didn't love about it is that they had him on a leash. Because I would have loved to have seen him. Just I want to see the outtakes.
Yes,
because there's some good outtakes there.
Yep, without a doubt. Best part of the movie. But but I thought, I was probably about 3/4 way through, and I just turned to my wife. This movie sucks, and she was like half asleep actually.
I guess you got to wait for the director's cut of the Pop-Tart.
Yeah,
the Zack Snyder version.
Yeah, those are marathons. I'm just excited about Let It Be on Wednesday. So there.
That's right.
Yeah. And you mentioned Floyd before. Yeah. This new David Gilmour song, I can't stop listening to it.
I haven't heard it yet.
Oh, really?
No, I haven't.
Come on, Al. What are you doing?
I'm busy trying to learn Genesis.
He's got this new song out. He's got an album coming out, I think, later this year. But he's put out one song so far. It's one of the best things I think he's ever done.
God, I hope he tours.
Yeah, he's already announced some England dates.
He comes over.
Hopefully, yeah.
I saw Floyd. Last time I saw Floyd was at the Meadowlands back in like '94 or something.
Yeah,
like
I saw him at Yankee Stadium back then. Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to go to that show. They opened with Astronomy Dominate.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
I would love that. I would have loved that.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so tell me. I'm assuming you must have seen them, Genesis.
Yes, I've seen them a couple of times. I was a little late to the concert game.
Okay.
I saw them in twice in 2007.
Oh, okay. That was the first time you ever saw them?
Live, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I listened. I know. Just,
yeah. What does that mean? Late to the concert game. What does that mean?
If it's going to concerts.
Oh, okay. You were a drummer who didn't go to concerts?
I got involved with family, raising kids, working 2-3 jobs.
Oh, okay. That
didn't
explains
have
it.
That.
Right.
You didn't want to stand online with bracelets outside of...
Waiting all night long,
yeah. And then I got older. I said, well, eventually I'm going to die, so maybe I should go see some concerts before I do that.
Right.
And I always wanted to see Genesis. I saw them. I saw them in Madison Square Garden, I believe, and was it Jersey? I think it might have been. I'm trying to remember. But I wanted to hear more of the old stuff.
Okay.
And I regretted not going earlier.
Yeah, sure.
So thankfully for YouTube, you can just pick up almost any concert on YouTube. Yeah. So I've kind of caught up in that regard.
Right.
And I find myself gravitating more towards the 70s shows.
Right.
They had that real good mix of the older Peter stuff and the newer.
Is that why you chose Seconds Out as the name? Because that live album has a little bit of both?
Yeah.
Right. We thought it was a nice transition. It's recognizable.
Right.
And, eventually, we're trying to use that, that album as a checklist of things to do. So, that was a nice start.
Right.
For us. But, yeah.
And were those the first songs you guys put together, that album, or no?
The first song was was Hogweed.
I think it was Hogweed. Yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting
Started
choice.
with-
The first one to learn.
Yeah, let's try that, and it turned out. Then you went into Watcher, and then we went to the Squonk and whatnot. So so we had enough.
Yeah.
I think we have 3 left on Seconds Out, right?
We have a few: robbery, assault and battery, suppers ready.
Yeah.
Los
and
Endos
and Dance on a Volcano.
Dance. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what we have left. Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Eventually, we're hoping that there will be a Seconds Out does Seconds Out. That's
Sure.
what we're working
Right.
towards.
Yeah.
Because
That's what every tribute band eventually gets to those things. Do full album show or this guest, and that's what we all love. We love to see that stuff.
Oh,
so.
sure. When you see Musical Box, they're playing either, Selling England by the Pound, or they're doing The Lamb, or, Nursery Crime or whatever. So,
Sure.
Musical Box has over 1,000 shows under their belt, and it shows. I mean, they can do everything and anything. We have 5 shows. We started in September, so it's going to take a little time to get there. But that's I think a great goal to have.
And your lead singer. Well, I was going to single out your lead singer Mike, but I guess for all you guys, this isn't the musical box. You're with the choreographing and making sure it's all recreated. You guys are just playing the music.
No, we're just some guys that love to play the
Right.
music.
Right.
Maybe we do like a little homage here and there to something.
Right.
Like Michael put on a Scully cap and a coat. When we're playing That's All.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
Or
no, we're not
Hawaiian
getting
shirt.
Yeah, maybe down the road like a Halloween show, and we all
Sure.
all put the wig on and with the white
that would
suit,
be funny. Yeah.
but,
Right. But this is just the music.
We're really
It's
focusing on
really
music.
about it's a tribute to the music.
Right.
You can get into the theatrics and the other bands that do that great.
Oh, sure.
And
Yeah, it's fun. Sure.
And they pull it off wonderfully, especially
Right.
Musical Box. But for us, it's about the music, and the people they respond so well and positively to the music.
Right.
So it just makes us want to play that music even better and tighten it up and add these things. We're also trying to make sure we, for the true fans out there, we grab a couple of deep dives here and there.
Right.
Because they hear that, they go, wait, you guys are playing that?
Right. And that's got to be rewarding, right? To see the looks on their faces that they know it and appreciate that. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm the same way. I'm a deep cuts guy. I like the greatest hits. I feel with almost any artist is not really their best work. Like I feel that way about Genesis. Even Billy Joel, I feel that way about. Their best work is not the greatest hits.
Yeah.
Like
Harbor on Billy Joel has some amazing songs on it.
Right.
But that's his first album that not a lot of people know about.
Right. She's Got Away, and that's pretty much.
Yeah.
That's
like
the
Everybody
only
Loves
one.
You Now. It's
Right.
a great song.
Right. And that's
no, it's never played.
right. I saw him doing a Q&A. It's got to be like 10 years ago, where somebody asked him about that album. Sure enough, he sat at the keyboard, and he played snippets of those songs, but not serious. Like he was trashing it. But the crowd was getting all excited. He's playing "Falling of the Rain," probably the first time he's played it since 1972.
Right.
And we're all getting excited to hear him play it. And then he would stop. Oh, this song sucks. And like no, it's good. It's good stuff.
No, please keep going.
Yeah, right.
Like we're almost there.
It's like
please.
such a tease.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So it's got to be rewarding. In fact, I think even when I called you, it was funny because I contacted you guys about coming in. You called me up.
And thank you, by the way, for having us
my
on.
pleasure, my pleasure. Because I'm a huge Genesis guy, and but I did laugh because you had asked me on the phone what my favorite Genesis B-side is, and I had to think for a second, but I do remember thinking in my head like is this? I hope this guy doesn't think I'm making this up or pranking him. This is a test. This if I answer this wrong, or if I came up with I don't know Studio 12-inch he would have been like, I'm not, fuck you, So I what did I say? Feeding the fire? I think I said.
I think you said Feeding the Fire.
Yeah. On the Shoreline is another one.
On the Shoreline.
I'm going late Genesis. But
no, I know On the Shoreline, and I think then we started getting more into that, and I realized that we had work to do. Because I'm like, what about Evidence of Autumn?
Right. And I think that's one you brought up, right?
Yeah, that's the one I brought up. But,
for me, it's Twilight Alehouse.
Sure.
Great song that unfortunately not many people know.
No.
Yeah.
I'd love to play, and people looking at him like, what is this song? Well, it's a very early, Peter song.
Right.
That,
Yeah,
drinking is great.
Trespass, yeah. And Trespass is an album that my 14-year-old actually listens to.
Oh, wow.
She is just enamored with it, and she's like, "Are you going to do more songs off of this?" I'm like, "Well, we're doing a couple."
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not me.
It's the president.
Joe Biden?
Sure.
And it must be so. And I won't harp on it, but because I don't know if it's personal, but not going to concerts, working 3 jobs, take care of your family. Like you probably, this must be so rewarding for you. It sounds like you're. Maybe I'm wrong, but it sounds like you were inactive musically for a while. So
no. Actually, I was in another like party rock band for 6-7 years.
Oh, okay.
And just sort of needed something else. And I was getting to the age, I'm 60 years old. So
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Go on.
No, you don't. You don't look.
Right,
I'm 54. I feel like I look older than you.
We said 20, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I started. You got more years behind you than in front of you.
Yeah.
I always wanted to play in a Genesis band, and just on a whim, I talked to you about it, and we've talked about it back and forth. And then on a whim on Facebook, I put a post and saying, "Hey, thinking of maybe playing in a Genesis tribute band." And Joe, within nanoseconds, sends me links. He's our keyboardist,
right,
of course, of him playing Firth the Fifth.
Oh, nice.
He's like, well, I guess we found a keyboardist.
Yeah, right.
He's like a unicorn, a keyboardist that's into Genesis that can play it well. It's really
not
struck
easy.
Gold.
Yeah.
And then we had Richie Rossiconi, our lead guitarist.
Okay.
Who
I've known Richie forever. He played my wedding. That's how.
Oh wow! Oh, that's cool.
He's really, he's too humble to accept a compliment, but he's really one of the best guitarists I've ever played with, and maybe ever will play with.
Wow.
So
yeah. In fact, let me do that before, because I don't want to miss out on that. Joe Whitecamp, is that how you pronounce his name?
Whitecamp.
Whitecamp.
Yep.
Mike DeManico is the vocals.
Right.
Frank Cafora, Al Messina, and Richard Rossiconi. Is that what you said?
Right.
Rossiconi. Okay. Wow.
We have a few Italians and one German.
The names are just as intricate as the music.
Definitely from the island.
Yeah, right. And speaking of that tune, did you ever see? I think it's from the 2009 reunion tour where they screw up Fifth to Firth with it. Yeah, I always.
They've done it in a few shows.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That clip,
Banks would never play the intro because it was just too difficult to do it live. Yeah.
It's deceptively hard.
Oh sure.
You listen to it like, oh yeah, but then you play it.
Right.
And it's deceptively hard.
Yeah.
Very dynamic. There's a lot of moving parts.
Right. Yeah.
I almost prefer to play Watcher of the Skies over Firth the Fifth.
Really?
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
Because I feel like I know where everything is in Watcher of the Skies, but Firth the Fifth, you got those little undulations going on. If you miss it, it just sounds wrong.
Right. Right.
When you're trying to recreate the music of Genesis, it's got to be right.
Yeah.
There's very little room for error.
But we do have some.
Well, we're human, yes.
Yeah.
But we do our best.
Is there any? Well, we talked about the last album, but is there any Genesis songs you don't like that you probably would never touch for whatever reason? Maybe you like it, but maybe it's too hard, or you just feel the fans won't.
That's a great question. Some songs might be just too deep cut.
Yeah.
To play, they.
Namanu.
Right.
Which is a hell of a tune.
Yeah. Right. But playing it live, I can't imagine the audience.
If we we play a song and then we go into the waiting room off of, the Lamb. Like, where are they going with this?
Sure.
So there's some songs that just don't fit. But I was. You mentioned, do women like Genesis? And the answer is yes, because there were actually people dancing to Genesis when we played the Warehouse in January. We looked at each other like, I can't believe this is actually happening. I didn't think that was going to be a thing, but it is.
Sure.
Well, what got me, it was at that Warehouse show. There's a video of like a whole crowd of people singing along to Carpet Crawlers.
Oh, nice.
Kenny's there, like
arm in arm with people.
That's great.
Just a whole and you're looking at it when you're up on the kit, you don't really see as much as what these guys see.
Right. Yeah.
But to see that video, it's like, and that it sounds so like trite, but that's why we do it.
Right.
Because,
that's totally why.
I
often identify because we're in Governors. I'm in the comedy world, but I'm a big music fan, and I have my brother Frank Walker. He plays. He's sat in One Your Stories a bunch of times. He's been on the local scene for a long time musically. So I often see similarities, between both worlds, and that's it right there. I mostly perform with a comedy troupe. I do some stand up, but I do some comedy shows, scripted shows. Audience interactive shows. We're not just on a stage. We're doing stuff with the audience. So I love that after like you mentioned, these guys are seeing stuff you don't see because you're in the kit. I love that after the show, talking with the other guys and hearing their perspective, what they saw, and talking about things that I didn't see, and just knowing how much they enjoyed it. And that's that's what you just. So I'm assuming you guys probably do the same thing. And then, like you said, watching the video after. To see all these people singing along, I mean, that's got to be such a great feel.
It is. When we played Industry the last time, we were playing the song Musical Box. Mm-hmm. And at the end, when it kind of got quiet, it's a very intimate setting. So you're only a few feet away from the crowd.
Right.
And you can hear the crowd just go, I've been waiting here for so long.
Yeah.
And it was, it just I'm getting chills now talking about it.
Sure.
It's such a nice, communal experience that everybody's enjoying this music, from these guys in England that were trying to reproduce faithfully here on the island, and just loving it.
Even the last time that the band themselves came around, 2020, 21, whatever.
Yeah, I think it was 21.
21.
Yeah.
I saw them at the Garden, and they ended with Carpet Crawlers, but I'm looking around the Garden, I think maybe only half the place even knew that song.
Really?
So I thought it was I did think it was a weird choice It was a good choice for the fans who really know that song to end with that. Mm-hmm. But again, the general population, that wasn't a hit for them. I think a lot of the audience had no idea what this song was. So I would rather be at the Warehouse where everybody knows that song. That's just a more community feel.
Yes, yeah, it's really a great. It's like the audience is the sixth member of the band, in those times,
right?
Because it's an energy thing,
exactly.
It just feels wonderful.
Yeah,
it does. What we opened with,
and then I go to work the next day.
Yeah,
I mean,
right. I'm not a celebrity anymore
until we go on the world tour.
You're using that term a little liberally. Celebrity. Okay.
The Warehouse this Thursday, and then the Garden is next. This is just a warm-up gig.
Well, yes, I'm going to be a landscaper, so I'll be at a garden somewhere soon.
Very good. All right, so now tell me, let's see, are there any songs that you feel Phil sang better than Peter?
Well, of the Peter songs?
Yeah. Like, a song that was originally Peter that Phil sang later on that Phil does better.
I don't know.
Or maybe there's none. I don't know.
I don't know about better, but I do like the way that I really like the way that Phil sings, "Supper's Ready" on the Seconds Out album.
Okay.
I don't think he's doing it any better, but I like the way he does it. I really like the way he does it.
Well, he does have more. Not to take anything away from Peter's voice.
Sure, of course.
Phil has a more melodic
voice. Well, Peter has that more rasp to it. Yeah. So it's a different element, but it's.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was thinking "Supper's Ready" as well from Seconds Out, because I remember that I listened to that continuously when I was in college.
Right.
That was the only. Just played it over and over and over and over.
Mm-hmm. That's probably why I asked, because I always, anytime I think about In the Cage, I go back to that '83 World Tour or '84, because that's what I grew up with, and I just, to me, that concert is just phenomenal, and the way he I just thought Phil nailed it completely on that whole video, including that song. Like that's my go-to for that song.
Well, yeah, and back, the early '80s and the late '70s, he was so frenetic on stage. That guy was just a ball of energy.
Oh yeah,
jumping around, playing tambourine solos, running behind the kid, running back from behind the kid,
right,
singing his guts out. Granted, he was drinking a lot and high,
Yeah, right, yep.
who isn't these days? But just to watch that energy
Right.
and how he owned those, he made those songs his own.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you guys almost have a little bit of an advantage because when Phil was when he took over as the front man, vocally, Daryl and Mike and a little bit of Tony would do a little bit, but they're really not singers.
No,
and
they're not
if you listen to them sing on their solo albums, you know why they're limited. But for you guys, you have Mike as your singer, and then you also sing.
Yeah,
so
that's
you
exactly.
guys almost have a little bit of an advantage to, if you're recreating the original albums versions, so you have more of an advantage that way because you're vocals.
We can study and break those songs down a little bit better.
Yeah.
And yeah. So that is a little bit of an advantage,
right?
Where we can. It's still it's not easy.
Oh, it's not easy, but it's.
Yeah.
Live, they really didn't have that,
if I'm playing with my feet and my hands and trying to sing and try to see sing things at the same time, it's
crazy.
tough. So
Wow.
sometimes you have to make choices to whether I'm gonna,
right,
not fudge it, but say put a little more sustain on the pedal so I can switch a little quicker.
Right.
It's.
Well, I'm thinking of, like you mentioned, Music Box, and I think that's why I thought of it because because you sing at the end when
right. I'm playing 6-string guitar on that. I don't play bass on that at all.
Right.
Yeah, with the pedals. So.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You could do the dishes at the same time.
Right.
I hear you continue to talk about your difficulties, but I want to point out how difficult it is for me to watch him do all that.
Oh, I feel so bad for you.
I'm getting self-conscious.
The struggle is real. I'm just telling you, it is.
It's a lot of fun. I really
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the old saying, if it was easy, anybody would do it. And it's just...
it gives me more respect for the guys that can do it.
Right.
Mike Rutherford, Geddy Lee. Forget about Geddy Lee. Oh, my God. He can do anything.
Right.
He could do it standing with his back to the audience.
Right.
And somehow he does it.
Yep.
While writing on parchment in Sanskrit,
Right. Well, and crocheting, booties.
Right.
The guy's amazing.
And speaking of Rutherford, we were talking about Phil before, people know him for a lot of his ballads. They don't know him as much as they should about his drumming. Same with Rutherford. I mean, what a bass player. I mean, you make your top, your list of top 50, maybe even top 100. Nobody mentions him.
Underrated.
Completely
Absolutely
underrated.
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, good guitar player too, but mostly a rhythm guy.
Yeah.
Leads are okay, but bass playing, I feel he's unbelievable.
Yeah, you pull out In the Cage, you pull out Get 'Em Out by Friday, Hogweed,
right.
things like that. They're very intricate, difficult songs to play.
Yep. And then even you take a later pop song like Invisible Touch, you listen to that bass line.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of
he's all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of fast little things he does. I think when he played on, to me, my impression, when he played on No Reply at All, he's like, I can still play bass, and let me show you how I can play bass.
Right.
And that's what he did.
Yeah.
Because when I first heard it, he's like, you guys want me to learn this? How am I going to do that? I say that for every single song.
He actually does.
And then hours later, I come out with it. But it takes a lot of time to learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, if you've listened to Small Creeps,
okay,
Rutherford's, I think that was his first album. And
yes.
If I'm wrong.
No, that was his first solo album. Yeah.
Musically, it was amazing.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and again, he did have some other singers.
Well, and
playing
he had,
on that.
I think Ray was on that. Maybe
Ray Wilson was on that?
Yeah, I think. I could be wrong.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, Rutherford's a tremendous songwriter to begin with.
Yes, he is.
But he also had Simon Phillips on drums.
Right.
Which
is talk
okay.
about a drummer. Yeah. I think he did most of the singing on his second solo album.
Yeah, he's got a couple of decent tunes on that.
Yeah. You just wish somebody else was singing.
Yeah, you kind of do.
Yeah.
But I get it.
Right. Yeah. And speaking of Rutherford, I'll show you guys this, and I don't know if you can see it. You'll probably have to wait till it comes up on the. Yeah, I had the pleasure of meeting the man. What year was this? 2016, I believe it was.
Where's this at?
This was in Scotland, actually. A friend of mine is, and you guys who are watching, my apologies. I have a friend that is a musician in England. Yeah, all right, so there you go. A friend of mine who's a musician in England the guys, my friends who watch this show, they're so sick of hearing me talk about him. But his name is Elio Pace. He's a musician in England. He's backed Albert Lee. He's backed Susie Quattro. He's a working musician. He's and he has his own band. He does his originals, and he has a Billy Joel show out there. And he just played the London Palladium just 2 weeks ago. He's killing it out there, and he does a charity gig every October in Scotland at I don't know if you guys are golfers. It's
St. Andrews.
St. Andrews, thank you. Yeah,
I'm not a golfer. I just
Neither am I.
No, I'm not. I actually honestly I hate golf. I don't see the guys in funny pants showing off their money. That's
George Carlin did a bit about that.
Is that right? I'll have to look that up because I just don't get it. But anyway, so but this is the golfing mecca of the world, and they have this big charity event. And my friend, he's the entertainment. He's the band every year. Supposedly, I went this one time. Supposedly, like some of the biggest golfers in the world were there. I could have been this close to him. I would have. I mean, if it was Jack Nicklaus or some of the bigger names, I would have known. But Tiger Woods, I would know. But I was right close to these guys. I had no clue. But because it's a big time thing, Mike Rutherford. That was his first time there. But my friend Elio and Huey Lewis, they actually put organize it to get the music, the entertainment. They organize it together every year. Well, obviously not Huey anymore because of his hearing issues. But yeah, Huey was such a cool guy. So I went that one year. I was kind of helping out with my buddy. Worked with Huey on this thing. I mean, just such a cool guy. And Mike came in. It was supposed to be Don Felder of the Eagles. Yeah. He had to cancel last minute. So my friend Elio calls me up and he goes, he says, we got Mike Rutherford. I was like, holy shit. I go, and I'm going to be there. We're FaceTiming. I'm home, I'm like, and, I mean, this is right. Exactly. That's exactly like, I don't get starstruck often.
Sure.
But this is British rock royalty right here. I was completely starstruck. Him. And I met Brian May once, and I was completely.
Oh, Brian!
I couldn't even speak with Brian. I was, and it was quick. Nice to meet you. We shook hands. Mike Rutherford, I did a little bit better, but being a huge Genesis fan since I was a kid, like I couldn't believe it, and I nailed it. My buddy asked because my buddy's not a Genesis guy, so he said to me, he goes. Because they mix it. They do covers, and they'll spotlight the people that are playing with them. Bon Jovi's drummer was also in this band. So they did some Huey tunes, and my friend asked me, he goes, what song should I know of Mike Rutherford? What should I brush up on? I said, he's probably going to ask for All I Need Is a Miracle and I Can't Dance. Because if you watch like any special appearances Mike Rutherford does, that song, I Can't Dance, is always there. Fine, good enough song, but wouldn't make my top 20 of Mike Rutherford songs.
No,
but
right? Yeah.
There were so many other songs I'd rather see him do. But and sure enough, when my buddy had his first phone call with Mike Rutherford, he asked for I Can't Dance. That's the only song he wanted to play of his own. Everything else was all covers. And very nice man. His wife was there too. They nailed I Can't Dance. And it was funny. After the show, we were standing around and we're talking, and he was telling me that because they did with Huey, they did Power Love, Back to the Future. He went on and on about how difficult it was to play that song.
Really?
Yeah. And as a guitar player, I'm sure you're probably baffled. And I'm not a guitar player, but I looked right at him, and I think I pissed him off. I said, all those early Genesis tunes. I said, and Power of Love is the one that you found it hard to play?
Great. You shamed Mike Rutherford.
Totally.
Nice.
I totally
well done,
did.
my friend.
Totally did. He did. He gave me a funny look, and I said, I'm
only a hack too.
Yeah. Then I said, why would you play I Can't Dance? No,
we did reach out to Tony Levin, but he was busy.
So yeah, he did. He gave me a funny look, and I actually said, I'm only kidding with you. And he goes, I know, like that. And then And then we were talking to some other people, but sure enough, a few minutes later, he walked away. That was the last interaction I had with him for the night. I was like, oh, man, I think I just blew it with Mike Rutherford. But
now, before you met him, like when you're getting dressed, were you like going to your wife, do you think Mike would like me in this?
Am
I showing chest? Am I not showing chest? What do I do?
Well, that's the thing. And these guys have heard it a bunch of times. Now, also playing in the band that night was Andy Garcia. Yeah,
really?
He's
the actor.
Yeah, he dabbles in percussion play. Right. Huh. Now, I think it's safe to say that Andy Garcia is not watching. So I always just tell this story, and this is just the truth. This guy showed up half in the bag already. He just kind of stumbled in. He had a big long overcoat. He had a fedora. Like, you didn't even know it was him. Yeah. Like, he really and he stumbled. He walks in. He goes straight to the congas, puts his overcoat on the congas, and then just sits and just starts. And they're rehearsing. And I do have video of it somewhere. They played what song was it? It was maybe was it The Letter by Joe Cocker? Well, his version of The Letter.
Oh, that's a great song.
Or was it Feeling All Right? They were doing something that had like a little percussion break in the song.
Well, I think Feeling All Right has that.
Okay, yeah. So it was probably that. And I do have this is in rehearsal, and like you would think he was playing a different song. He was nowhere even close, man. And I was, but yeah, he was a mess, and it was really funny when the show was going on. And again, it's all these rich people, this high-end charity event. So there was all sorts of breathtaking women at this thing. So he's playing during the show, and people are walking around with their cameras, and so all these women. I mean, it happened several times throughout the night. They would get in front of him, and then the husband would take the picture of and they got Andy Garcia behind. So he's like this the whole time, and all of a sudden, there's the pretty girl, right? And then the girl goes away, and he's back to this. So anyway, I was with my girlfriend at the time, and like you mentioned, how should we dress, low cut, and like she. I'm not trying to be mean, but she has a nice rack. I'm just being blunt. But
of spices.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So after the event, so at this point it's like 2 a.m. We're still there, and Andy Garcia, he's not half in the bag anymore. He's fully in the bag. So it was 2 o'clock in the morning, maybe another hour. Like you could see this thing was starting to wind down. Yeah. So we went up to him, and the band wasn't playing anymore. We just went to him. Hey, the night's almost over. It's like, Andy, can we get a picture? Yeah, of course. So we take a picture, take a little selfie, right? And then my girlfriend, she turns to him. She goes, thank you. She just turned to him. She goes, thank you very much. I swear to you. He goes, well, you're welcome. Like, just like that. I mean, didn't hold back, not just complete.
Wow.
And and I'm a little confused. Like there was that moment where we're looking at each other like, did that just happen? So she just looks, I turned to her. I go, am I supposed to do something? Like, I didn't know what to do. Do I go to him and say, hey, you son of a bitch? Like, she just goes, I just got felt up by Andy Garcia.
I was about to say, yeah, it's assault, but...
Right, and that's exactly what she did.
Check.
Right. So that it's like, when Davy Jones kissed Marcia, right? I'm never going to wash his cheek again, I said that to her. I said, oh, you're never going to wash that breast again, But, yeah, we just let it go. Now we have a great story to tell everybody. But, yeah, that was our night. So, yeah, that was my night with Mike Rutherford. Wow, cool. Which it's still, like, sometimes I'm still like, did that really happen? Like, never in a million years that, this slob from Hicksville, never in a million years that I ever think I'd meet. Again, this is like British rock royalty, It's true. Like the way,
there's all these hot golf, pros and their significant others, and you said these gorgeous women and some slob from Hicksville. How did you get in the first place?
Well, my buddy, who's the musician, he's one of my best friends, and he knew what a Genesis guy I was. Well, actually, I take that back because I was already scheduled to go. I was already going to see him, and so I think because it was that week of the event, he said, all right, well, you're going to be part of my posse. And I actually did. I truly did work. Like, I was helping them out. In fact, Huey Lewis was upset. The sound guy was not getting the sound right. I ended up spending some time with the guy. He was like, let's do this. And Huey Lewis at one point came over and was screaming at the guy. And he's looking at me like for backup. So I'm like, yeah! Like me and Huey are yelling at a guy.
You heard Louie.
Right. Yeah, it was...
Huey, Louie.
Knew what he meant.
All right.
I'll get to the other one in a minute.
So that was... but yeah, beautiful women, but... No, I could see beautiful women at Jones Beach. Like, I met Reich Rutherford, damn it.
Yeah.
Like, that... I'm still blown away that that opportunity ever came my way, man.
Well, we get mobbed too at our shows by middle-aged guys, but you know, and some of them have really nice racks.
I'm sure they do. Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, folks. I had to one up on my.
All right, let's do a little. Let's see how good your knowledge of Genesis really is, my friends.
Here we go.
Can you name every member of the band? And if you get into the touring, the guys who just played live, then you get extra points.
We got Anthony Phillips, Tony Banks, Peter Gabriel, Mike Rutherford. Oh God, why am I blanking out? I say his name all the time. I'll get to him in a minute. Phil Collins, obviously Steve Hackett. Then you have John Silver, and then you have John Mayhew. And then live is Chester. Oh, Bill. Well, he was on for.
He was touring.
Yeah, but not for very long. I don't think.
Well, he did one tour.
Yeah, he did one tour.
A full tour, so he counts.
So Bill, Chester,
Daryl.
Daryl, and so I lost count. I'm a drummer. I count to 4. That's it. So how many am I missing?
All right. Well,
I'm not only going up to 91. I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So going up to 91. All right. So you're not even counting the reunion tours.
Well, the reunion tours. Oh God.
All right. You don't. That's fine. You're doing pretty well. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. I mean, I know like Calling All Stations, Nick DiVigilio.
Right.
That's it. And then they had Ray. But as far as that,
All right.
I'm a little lost.
What's that?
I said not bad.
No, not bad at all. Did you happen to pick up anybody he missed?
Me, no. Like I said, I'm a recent convert, only like 3-4 years.
Oh, that's it.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, drums and percussion from 67 to 68. Chris Stewart.
Yep. I knew there was one more.
But now there's one. When I put this, looking this up, putting the list together, there was one name that I never even heard myself. So apparently, in between Anthony Phillips and Steve Hackett was a Mick Bernard. I thought they went from Phillips to Hackett.
To be honest, I never.
Yeah, I never heard that name before.
I never heard that.
So maybe Wikipedia is lying. I don't know.
Chris Bernard.
Yeah, Mick Bernard.
We'll have to do a tribute to the Chris Bernard years.
Right.
Half a song.
Chris Bernard month.
The live you nailed, and then of course during the Ray Wilson time there was Nerzi on drums, and they had Anthony Drennan replace Daryl.
All right.
Who is now with Mike and the Mechanics, that guy.
That's right.
Yeah. And then the reunion tours, of course, well, for this past one, you had Phil's son Nick on drums, and they had backing vocalists for the first time.
Well, because Phil is so weak with the vocals.
Daniel Pierce and Patrick Smythe were the
I think those guys were with Phil in his solo tours,
I believe you're right.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
I think they're on the Not Dead Yet tour, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I think Phil, he's completely done, right? He's not doing anything.
Oh, no,
yeah. It was.
I was surprised he had Nick on the tour.
Really? Why?
Because his son Simon, I felt would have been a much better fit for the Genesis stuff. Because Simon even covered "Keep It Dark."
Right. Yeah.
And
he's worked with Steve.
Not only looks like his dad, but sounded just like his dad.
Yeah.
And he's done a lot of work with Steve. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Nick's a good drummer in his own right. I can't.
And Simon is a good singer as well.
Singer,
yeah. He's put out some decent stuff. I think he's had some issues, right? I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I don't know if that has anything to do, because it does seem like. I remember when he first came out, like it seemed like Phil was kind of pushing him and was like kind of hanging around. He was guessing on some stuff
together.
Yeah, but you don't really see that anymore. So I don't know if that's why I mentioned. And speaking of which, I mean, we used to talk about on this show that poor bastard Phil Collins a couple of years ago, that crazy divorce from his second divorce from his wife, his third or fourth wife, whatever she was. where they were living together, and then she got married to some guy behind his back while they were still living together. Like, we were talking about that regularly on here. Like, what a mess.
He's good with the ladies in the start, but it doesn't finish very well.
Yeah,
early.
yeah. I like it, that was just.
What's his name?
Yeah, I just started Not Dead Yet. I'm not. Don't spoil it for me.
All right. Well, actually, I don't even. This is. You're talking about his book.
His book, yeah.
This is all after the book.
Yeah.
It's after the book.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, he was sort of the Taylor Swift back in the early '80s when he's writing the solo albums, because there's always a divorce involved.
Oh, that's most of his songs are breakup songs. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So you got props to that. He turned grief into something.
But yeah, and some talented kids. Oh yeah, Nick, he did a super job on the tours.
Great job.
Yeah.
And of course, his daughter, was it Lily?
Oh, the actress, right?
Yeah. She does a lot of great stuff. So,
all right, we have just a few minutes left to go. Andy Garcia plays the drums, otherwise known as the cans. Yes, he does.
That's Andrew. That was a good
Oh
one.
yeah, he's got a ton of them. That son of a bitch. Huey Lewis in the news. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, that's why I'm not reading the comments much today. So it's this Thursday at the Warehouse. What 7:30? You said is the show
start time is 7:30, roughly around there. Yeah,
I think doors is 6:30.
And then if they want to get all the info on you guys, secondsouttribute.com, right? Okay.
Yeah, there and Facebook. Those are our tags on Facebook and Instagram as well.
Right.
Seconds Out Tribute.
Yeah, we have the event on our Facebook page.
Right.
Seconds Out.
And both the social media and the website has videos and pictures and merch.
We do have merch.
Yep. A lot of great stuff there. So again, like we mentioned before, there'll be stuff that you've never played before on Thursday.
Yes.
Absolutely. Very nice.
Yeah. I did want to ask you one thing before we wrap up.
Of course.
What was the one song that started you on it?
Wow.
I wanted to ask you earlier and I forgot.
Good question. All right, so let's see. Well, I think, believe it or not, I'm going to say it's No Reply at All. Okay. I mean, Phil was just starting to get known as a solo guy. Like In the Air Tonight was, Face Value album was already out, and maybe even was Hello, I Must Be Going already out before Abacab?
That was, I think, 80. No, Abacab was out before Hello, I Must Be Going.
Oh, okay. All right. So
80, right?
Hello, I Must Be Going, I think it was 82, around there.
Okay. So, yes, but he was starting to get out there with In the Air Tonight and the Face Value album. And I'm a big Beatle fan. Yeah. You know what it was? Yes, it was. It just came back to me. It was No Reply at All. I was in 8th grade. I was taking a music appreciation class.
Okay.
And I'm a big Beatle fan. And the teacher, he was going over drums. He was discussing drums. But this teacher, he was a really cool teacher. In fact, just passed away a few years ago. His name was Mr. Borst, B-O-R-S-T. He was a musician, and he liked a lot of rock. And he would play almost like Mr. Holland's Opus, right? Like when he discovers I can play Louie instead of, it was the same thing. Like he would play some current stuff, and it was a cool class. And I remember him saying, "I'm going to play this song," and he started to mention Phil Collins, and I knew In the Air Tonight. And I remember him saying, "I'm going to play the song No Reply at All," and it immediately sparked my interest as a Beatle fan because they have the song No Reply. This is a long, boring story, but that's how I made a connection. Like, oh, No Reply. And then he played the song, and I was like, I remember him saying Phil Collins, but I don't think I remembered it was the In the Air Tonight guy until I heard the voice. I was like, oh, that's the guy who does In the Air Tonight. And it just went from there. It really just went from, and then it was only a year or so later that, like that live video that I keep referring to, that was the one. When I don't even know why I bought it. Oh, you know what it was? Yeah, No Reply at All. So that's the Abacab album. Yep. That album, that's one of my favorites. So, that's what it was. And then after that, so I bought Abacab, and then a friend of mine was getting rid of his 8-tracks, and he had 3 Sides Live 8-tracks. So I had an 8-track player at home.
Okay.
So that's what when I really fell in deep, I put that album on. I was like, whoa! And I did. I was all Phil Collins.
Uh-huh.
And I got all that, and then I went back and I eventually got all the albums. I have the reissues the box sets, the live box, even that box that they just put out, the live thing, the BBC archive last. Yeah. I have the B-sides. I got everything. They're one of my top 5 bands, easy.
Mine was similar. I was 14, I think it was 1977, 78. And I just heard on the radio somewhere Squawk.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And didn't think much of it. So, this is a cool song. But it always stuck in my head.
Yeah.
And I remember being in high school, like I would hum it all the time.
Right.
Never hearing it again until I got to college, and someone had the album Trick of the Tail, and they put it on.
What a great album.
And I heard that song, and I didn't even know who the person was, and the door was open in the dorm room. I went in and said, what is the name of that?
Who is that?
And then after that, I just acquired everything I could.
Yeah.
Like I had to have it.
I saw them in 92. And I'll never forget, I was like maybe 30 rows back. Back then when you can get tickets like that for a halfway decent price. No, this is Giant Stadium.
Giant Stadium, okay.
It was like 30th row, dead center. I mean, they were all right. I was like, oh, this is unbelievable. And they did that old medley.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's when it was that. I was like, oh, now I got to go back and check out the 70s stuff, because that.
Oh, that's so. That's
the first time I heard Musical Box closing section.
Yeah.
With now, I was like, what is that? that blew me away.
I love that.
Oh yeah.
It's so powerful. I love that.
And what about you?
Me, well, I was aware of Genesis growing up. Like I was a WLIR guy, so I
in the 80s, Phil Collins was everywhere. You couldn't avoid it.
Yeah, you couldn't throw a stone without hitting Phil Collins in some form or another.
Right.
And I remember in the mid to late 90s, I was working in construction, and some guy put the Lamb on the job site.
Oh wow.
And I was like, what is it? He goes, oh, this is Genesis. I'm like, that's not the Genesis I'm aware of. He goes, no, this is Peter Gabriel. Is it Peter Gabriel's in Genesis? I was 22 or 23.
Right.
And so I listened. I was like, wow, okay, that's really interesting. It was The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. And then I kind of drifted away and went into other stuff. And then when Frank's like, Genesis, every other word.
Right.
I went and I listened to Foxtrot. Foxtrot's like my favorite album. That's my album now. That's all I listen. When I put it on, I put on Foxtrot. So it was really starting with Watcher and then going through to Supper's Ready. And I was like, I had to listen to Supper's Ready over and over and over again. Yeah. It's like, this is kind of like echoes, from Floyd. There's so many different layers and parts to it. So
very
Foxtrot's
nice.
my album.
All right. Seconds Out is the name of the band. Go to secondsouttribute.com. Go to the Warehouse this Thursday if you're not going to go see any comedy. Lots of great stuff. Guys, this was a lot of fun. Thank you very much. Al Messina, Frank Cafora, and Seconds Out Tribute. Is there anything else you want to push before we go? Like any other bands or any other dates?
I'm in another band called Stereomatic. We do WLIR, WG80s stuff where we play like many times a month. Saturday we're in Greenport, and then on Friday we're at Gotham, the new place in Hop Hog.
Oh yeah,
really
right.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so
wow,
check out
you got a busy
Stereomatic.
weekend.
Yeah, I'm pretty busy, but it's a great band.
Yeah, Joe's and Let It Bleed.
Joe's and Let It Bleed. Stones Tribute.
Stones,
Mike's and Carbon Copy. Classic Rock.
Oh
Tribute,
yeah, I'm familiar with them.
And Frank's in
I'm finishing up my tenure with Expressway Jam.
Oh, okay.
About Expressway Jam, if anyone's interested.
Yeah, sure.
Party rock, and Rich is also in Expressway Jam with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right. Let's see. So it's just about time for us to go. Today is Monday. What do we got? Oh, we got Treading Water today at 4:30. Steve Squared at 6:30. And don't forget, govs.com. You want to go see some great comedy this weekend. In the Giggle Room on Thursday is the Broken Mike. Brian Scott McFadden is playing the club here this weekend. Terry McNeely, Natalie Goggin, our own Travis Grant, Hugh Murray, and Greg Joseph. They're playing the Giggle Room this weekend. Carrie Karavis playing the Brokerage this weekend. And Kevin Bartini's playing McGuire's this weekend. Those are just some of the names you'll see on the Governor's stage this weekend. Go to govs.com and get the full schedule and make your reservations. And, of course, Knockem Dead Comedy. Don't forget, we got some dates coming up. And, go to our website, find out where we're going to be. And you can even get information on how you can hire us for your event. And don't forget, we're going to be right here in the Giggle Room at Governor's on September 28th. We're doing a game show. It's some Triple X trivia for all you naughty people. All right. We're out of here. Once again, thank you, guys. This was really cool. Thank you very much. We'll have to do it again.
Yes.
Absolutely. All right. Wonderful. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow I have comedian Anthony Cassess and I hope I'm saying it right. Cassette. You guys should probably know better than me. Cassessi, what do you think?
Well, you got to say Cassess. You got to say with the Cassess.
Hey,
there you go.
Just say it with confidence.
That's all.
He's a comedian out of Jersey. He will be hanging out with us tomorrow. All right, we're out of here. All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
Comedy for your event today. What will you experience at a Knockem Dead Comedy Murder Mystery Show? Suspense, excitement, love, more love, violence. Well, not really. And, of course, some music. Knockem Dead Comedy is the #1 murder mystery troupe, entertaining thousands of people for over 20 years.
You have a great night or what? Good.
Their hilarious murder mystery shows are full of audience interaction from beginning to end that will keep you laughing all night long. Their shows are not to be missed. Knockem Dead Comedy's murder mystery themes include a mob show, a redneck wedding, a high school reunion, a family reunion with a luau theme, or your own custom show.
Johnny, you have a good time tonight or what? I had an awesome time. All right. You had a great time. KDC, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, all right.
Fundraisers,